calorie deficit is a term which has been floating around the fitness industry since day one. However, in more recent years has become more sexy and used more. Everyone knows the key to fat loss is a calorie deficit, and every coach should put their clients into a calorie deficit if fat loss is the goal. However, do they explain how a calorie deficit works? Or do they just put their clients into a deficit and ship them off? So ultimately, a calorie is a unit of energy which we get from food and drink, which our body then utilises to carry out any task imaginable. And the calorie deficit in layman's terms is just eating less calories than what your body needs to survive on a daily basis, or burning more calories than what you are consuming. Calories in versus calories out. But how do we get to the conclusion of a calorie deficit? How do we know what deficit to be in, or even how to get into a deficit? Because ultimately, you could be 1 calorie under what your body needs for the day, and scientifically you are in a calorie deficit, but you aren't going to see any results over any length of time. So the key component to working out one's calorie deficit is to work out what's called their BMR, their basal metabolic rate. And BMR simply is just what your body needs to survive on a daily basis. And obviously everyone's BMR varies down to gender, age, height, activity levels, genetics, and most importantly, your weight. There's many different formulas around how to calculate your BMR, most of which incorporate your height, your weight, and your age. Once your BMR is calculated, we can then move into the realms of energy expenditure. Your TDEE, or total daily energy expenditure, is calculated by taking your BMR and timesing it by your activity level. There are many different activity levels ranging from sedentary to lightly active, moderately active, active, and very active. And each activity level corresponds to a number to multiply by. So for argument's sake, let's take John. John is 45 years old, his height is 181 centimetres, and he weighs 94 kilograms. Now by my workings out, John's basal metabolic rate, or BMR, sits at 1,851 calories per day. That is the amount of calories which John needs just to survive on a daily basis. We class John as moderately active because he goes to the gym twice a week, he plays football 1 evening a week, and he might swim on a Saturday morning. So for this, we times his basal metabolic rate by 1.375. So this gives us a grand total of 2,545 calories. This is the amount of calories John requires each day to remain alive, carry out all of his planned activity, carry out all of his non-planned activity, and take into account the calories which are burned when you eat and digest food. Now I find for my clients between a 20 and 30% deficit is optimal for fat loss and not encroaching too much on your lifestyle, which is a very key and important point. You do not want to sacrifice your lifestyle for fat loss. So times in 2,545 by 0.2 will give us 20% of 2,545, which in this case is 509. So when we subtract 509 from 2,545, we are left with 2,036 calories per day for John to be in a 20% deficit, meaning he is consuming 20% less than what is required by his body, so his body now must find the additional 20%, the 500 calories, from its existing stores, which is how we elicit fat loss. And if John had any sense, he would times his daily calorie target by 7 for the days of the week and work to a weekly calorie target. This then allows flexibility to account for his lifestyle, going out for dinner and drinks with friends, taking his missus out on a date, taking the kids to McDonald's after school, whatever. And as long as he stays under that weekly target, he is going to elicit fat loss. Eliciting fat loss will then result in him feeling more confident, happier, and having sex with the lights on. And that is fat loss made simple.